Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we got something super special that I'm really excited about, and that is the glorious modular mechanical keyboard, also known as the GMMK, and we got this in the compact layout and bare bones, which is 60%. They have different sizes, so they have the 60% compact layout, the TKL 10 keyless layout, and the full size layout, and they all are the same price and have the same features throughout. And first of all, I would like to say that this is probably the #1 best beginner mechanical keyboard to really get yourself into the mechanical keyboard hobby, in my opinion. With that being said, let's jump into the details. Now, all of these details pretty much can be generalized to all of their sizes. The only difference is that the full-size keyboard does not have a detachable cable. However, the 60% and the TKL layout do. So keep that in mind when you're making purchasing decisions. So we got the bare bones compact. So what bare bones means is that it doesn't come with keycaps or switches. We had to put in switches and find a keycap set for ourselves. Good thing for you, 60% TKL and full-size layouts pretty much all use the same exact size keys. If you get a full-size keycap set, it's going to fit all of the smaller ones going down. So unlike some of the unique layouts that we've been playing around with, such as 65%, 75%, or 96%, those need special keycaps. These are pretty much normal. Any standard keycap set will fit. So bare bones costs about $60, and it doesn't matter which size you get, you're gonna pay $60 for that. In my opinion, this is extremely strange that we're paying $60 for a 60% keyboard, but if we wanted to get the bigger full-size version, it's also $60 for bare bones. So I don't know, that's just really weird. I guess it's like t-shirts, where if you wear an XXXL or an XXS, you're paying the same price even though the cost of materials is different for each size. That's that. Either way, $60 isn't that bad, so I'm just gonna get over it. It's okay. It comes with stabilizers, the Hotswap kit that's pretty much already screwed in, a switch puller, and then a keycap puller, which is on the back of the keyboard itself. And you also get additional rubber feet that's on the back, and a sticker for Glorious, and a dust cover, which I don't know about you, but I don't use my dust covers. They pretty much go back into the box after I open it. It's just I have no space to put them on my desk, and that looks a little weird. It also comes with a braided USB cable, and it is micro USB, so keep in mind it's micro USB for compact and TKL. The full-size one does not come with a detachable cable. You also get a right angle adapter for the micro USB cable in case you want your cable to go a different direction. The port on the keyboard is on the top left side. What the angle thing does, it turns it forward and then turns it to the right, so it'll be pointing out this way, and then you can just attach the cable in like that. Instead of the cable going out, it'll go across instead. So I guess that's pretty convenient if you're doing a custom cable where it can go across and then have the aviator and then go back towards your PC. So that's sort of cool. It also has a user's guide, and it comes with 2 extra keycaps. I believe they are ABS. One is double shot and one is not. One says Ascend in red, and the other one is the Glorious logo keycap. They feel like ABS, but they're sort of thick, and they look cool if you want that in your keyboard. The Ascend usually goes on the Escape, and the Glorious logo will either go on like one of the Windows keys or FN. It fits any of those bottom row keys pretty much. Okay, so I did buy this with the intention of doing several mods to the keyboard. So I opened it up, and to my surprise, it did have some noise dampening foam on the inside of the case. which was pretty cool. It's cut exactly to specifications of the case itself. I don't know about the bigger versions, but the small version had it, which is pretty cool. Reading the comments and stuff, I realized that that Glorious didn't do that to their cases before, but now they do. And then opening it up, I also realized that this is a top mounted PCB instead of the usual tray mounted boards that we review from big brand companies like Keycaps. This is a top mount. If you're not sure what that means, I'll link to a really great visual resource down below. It explains the different mounting styles of the PCB, so like top mount, integrated plate, bottom mount, sandwich mount, gasket mount, things like that. Check out the resource below. I didn't make it, but I find it extremely useful. Back to the keyboard. So it does have a custom plate on top because it is top mounted. And what this does is you're going to get a more consistent sound and a consistent feel throughout the keyboard. So whether you're typing on the bottom row or the top row, you're gonna get a very consistent feel and sound. Unlike the Keycaps K6 where we do a tray mount, you get some inconsistencies when you're moving up the board. It could sound like deeper on top and more high pitched on the bottom. It just depends on the mounting style and the materials as well. So you learn different things when you're messing around with your keyboards. And then at the bottom, you also see that there are 4 metal pieces at the bottom of the case, and these are weights. There's 4 pieces, 2 shorter ones and 2 longer ones. The bottom case is completely plastic. Without the weights, it's actually really lightweight. With all the weights and the keycaps and the switches, it weighs almost 2 pounds, 1 pound and 12 ounces to be exact, which is pretty hefty, and it feels very solid in your hands despite being a compact keyboard. The top plate is entirely made of metal and it has chamfered edges throughout for a nice look, very clean and very sleek. The sides are also made of metal, which is very nice, and the rubber feet on the bottom prevent sliding on most materials from what I've used so far. It has 2 kickstands of 1 angle each. I don't really use them because the case itself already has a natural angle to it. And if you see here, this is a very thick boy. Very, very thick. Even compared to the K6, this feels much thicker. So definitely get yourself a wrist rest. Glorious sells pretty nice wrist rests. We have a review on their wrist rest that I'll link down below. I've owned their padded wrist rest for almost 3 years now, and they work perfectly fine, especially for something with the front edge this high up. So back to the weights. If you want this to be a really portable keyboard that you're just going to pop into your backpack or bag and take it on the go, I would recommend removing those weights, or else this thing is quite heavy. It weighs really, really light without it and still feels pretty good. I like the way the heft feels because of the weight and the rubber feet on the bottom. It doesn't really slide around at all when you're gaming, which is a bonus. When you look at the stabilizers, we can see that these have cherry style stabilizers. It comes factory lubed around the wires only, so I took them out and proceeded to lube them more, and also lube these sides where the stems go up and down as well, and they sound pretty nice. I put in Gateron red switches that we had laying around. They are stock and unlubed. However, I do have some lube from SwitchMod coming in soon. Not sure when. Actually, by the time you see this video, I might already have it. So look out for that video eventually. I'm going to be playing around with lube and switches a lot in the future. But I'm going to give you a quick sound test of the stabilizers and the switches with Gateron red stock switches. I also clipped and I clipped and lubed the stabilizers. I did band-aids at first and then took them away since I like the noise without the band-aids actually, but you can do that mod if you like. I'll include a link to a Teha Types tutorial video on how to do all those mods down below. Very great reference video. So here we go. So you can see that it does have a consistent sound of these switches from the bottom row all the way to the top row, and that's due to its mounting style. And the keycaps that I currently have it on it right now are the original PBT shine through keycap sets that came with the drop control, the two-tone gray keycap set. I'm not sure where you can find something like this, but you can find a similar keycap set by Taihao. They have different colors and everything, and PBT and shine through as well. And the cable that we're using is not the one that came with it. We are using cables from Kraken Cables with the aviator connector. So what's really convenient about this is that we're always reviewing keyboards, which means we're always switching keyboards. And since this has a micro USB connector, all you do is you unscrew the aviator and get the micro USB short piece and plug that in and screw it really easily. And then when you're ready to go back to your other keyboard, your USB-C keyboard, you just unscrew it, pull it out, and then connect the other one. I find this super convenient and has been a game changer since we got it. It was about $35 on mechanicalkeyboards.com. I'll link that down below. So make sure you check it out. They have different colors and they come with the 3 connectors. So the aviator to USB-C, aviator to micro USB, and aviator to mini USB, which has been super convenient since we review keyboards of all different connector types. I'll have that down below. And now on to some different details, I suppose. It does have a floating keycap style. I'm getting sort of sick of floating keycaps since dust get in there super easily and you have to clean it out pretty regularly. See our how to clean your keyboard regularly guide video here. I'll link that. It's pretty easy. Do it about once a month on my most used keyboard, but it just gets really tiring after a while. And then we'll go through the RGB lights and the settings on this keyboard. It does come with a guide on how to switch the settings. You definitely have to look at the guide for sure. Since we bought it bare bones and didn't get the original keycap set, the original keycaps that you come if you buy this not bare bones are ABS plastic double shot keycaps, but they do have the legends that pertain to the different layers that the keyboard has, as like how to change colors, how to press delete, home, and things like that. It is a 60% keyboard, so you need to access your different layers. And then the software is really easy to use. It has different preset lighting effects on there as well as per key lighting modifications that you can do to the keyboard also. One thing that I realized that you have to do is when you install it, you have to install it from administrator, and then when you open it, right click and press open as administrator, or it won't open up. That's just something that I realized I had to do. I'm not sure if this happens every time, but the software is easy to use. It's not like super fancy and in-depth or anything, and I wouldn't call it super intuitive, but it's not hard to figure out. Overall, I would say this is the best beginner mechanical keyboard if you're just diving into the hobby. A bare bones kit for $60 for a 60% keyboard is super cheap and affordable. It is plate mounted though, so 3 pins would be okay too. You can fit all Kale, Cherry, Gateron, and I believe Zeal. Pretty much any MX style switch will fit in here, not the low profile switches or the optical switches, so keep that in mind. It's a great beginner board. You can buy it, you can play around with it, play around with different mods that you can do. It does have plate mounted stabilizers, so they're really easy to take out, and you can replace them with nicer ones if you want to. However, I find the ones that it comes with to be fine. But you can replace them if you want to. It lets you play around with a lot of different switches, so if you're new and you want to try Zelio switches or Xylants or creams, like, you can buy the switches and pop them in, no problem. And when you're ready to lube them, you pop them back out, lube them, pop them back in. Really easy to do. The only complaint I have about it is that it is micro USB. That is just a little bit annoying sometimes to have to switch to the connector that does micro USB. However, if you're not constantly reviewing keyboards and only using one keyboard, it's great. It's a really good keyboard, and at $60, I'm not really gonna complain about anything. If you buy it pre-built and with the switches and keycaps, it is $110, I believe, but you get 120 switches and the full set of keycaps, even though it is a 60% keyboard. So keep that in mind. Anyways, hope this video was super helpful, and if you're new to the hobby, get yourself one of these keyboards and start playing around with different switches, with different stabilizers, with different mods. There's just so many things to learn once you really figure out what kinds of things you can do with mechanical keyboards. Anyways, that was the review for the GMMK Compact 60% keyboard. We put in Gateron red switches and PBT double shot keycaps from the drop control keyboard. Hope this was helpful. I'm gonna link you guys to other Hotswap keyboards right here, and then a review of one of our other favorite Hotswap keyboards, the Gateron K6 right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.